consultancy firm which is specialized in brand tracking technologies, which has its headquarters in Barcelona. However, it also operates in Madrid, London, Rome, and Sydney. Just so you know, this is an interactive session, so please feel free to, as we go along, if you have any questions, please write them into us. You can do so by, if you click on the toolbar at the bottom, you will see there's a Q&A section, so you can just write your question there and Mark will answer as we go along. If not, when he's finished delivering the session, there's going to be some time for Q&A at the end, so please feel free to write in your questions as we go along. The more the better. All right, so without any further ado, I'm now going to pass over to Mark.
Thank you, Hannah. Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending to this webinar of the Spanish Chamber of Commerce in the United Kingdom. And it's my pleasure to introduce today the presentation of how the brands should behave and communicate in these unsettling times. And I will try to make the introduction in three big areas. The first one is just what is our job, what is our task in day by day, and more specifically in these unsettling times. After that is to explain how is the character that have the brands in all this context, and how we need to design these attitudes that the brands need to expose in this context. And finally, how could be the notes that we need to take and apply in our brands. Okay, let's start with a presentation just for understand, and I put in full screen. It's fine. Okay, great. And of course, in this crisis moment, this is just how we need to communicate effectively in this completely new context and in this completely new situation, just for us as persons, but also for the companies. And a little bit is really important to understand, to explain that for any company, the change is good, but maybe the situation requires our intention that is transformation is better. That's really important. That let me show you some examples that, for example, how some industrial companies could be transformed, could be developing a new focus more about sustainability. Or, for example, how, for example, places like or pharmacies, they need to today to be temples of beauty. That is our job. It's important that we manage the companies and we design for the companies basically new attitudes, just for they understand that constantly the change is present in our lives in all the economical and commercial context, and it's really, really important that we manage these situations with best intentions and with the best communication. That's why it's never underestimate that how scary change is for people, but it's normal. We need to understand that in any industrial and economical context is in this way. That's why we need to invest and focalize the attention in the communication is the key. Is the brands is something that inspire and connect and excite our customers. Following with that, of course, we can create message and presentations for any typology of products. So the most important thing we need to understand that the most important asset of a company is its brand. If we don't have brand, of course, that we don't communicate, we don't have nothing. But the most important also is how we manage this brand. We need to understand that the brand at the end is the intersection, the experience that appears in the intersection between a promise and one expectation. In our cases, as a company or as a professionals, we offer promises, and the expectation of the users need to be more or less balanced, or need to be in the same level of harmony that the promise that we offer to them. That's why in this intersection is when appears the brand. And the brand is not just a logo, it's not just a graphical representation. we need to understand really well that a brand is a good feeling. It's something that we perceive, that we feel about any product, service, or organization. Sometimes when we start to think in our brand, a lot of times we perceive that we have one identity, but it's not enough. If we want to be another level of relevance with the interaction with our users, it's important to understand that it's related with feelings, and it's in the way that we need to work. We need to connect specifically with this good feeling, with these intentions, with these attitudes, with these sensibilities that connect completely with our audience or potential clients. In the last years, more or less, when we work with a brand, we need to structure the typology of a brand. That what does it mean a smart brand? A smart brand maybe is the typology of brand that today is more related with one typology of consumers, that they are really sensible with the attitude that have the brands. That's why it's really important to start with the values, with sustainability values. Also, understanding the context means that we need to be present maybe for people, for the young people. We need to be present for the society. We need to understand when we speak to women, to men, to childs, to the older of the families also. That's important that we need to adapt and create a sequentiality in our brand to speak in different contexts. Another one is that in any case that we interact with our clients, we need to offer something intangible as knowledge that they perceive that our brand is not just one commercial intention, it's something else. We need to also consider how is important the omni-channel experience. We need to combine that is important the off and on channels to connect and to speak with our clients. We will see some examples during the next minutes. And of course, in understanding different contexts, how we need to adapt our brand to different sequentialities. If more or less we consider these 6 points and we have sensibility and how we elaborate any of them, it's important that in this moment we understand that we have a smart brand, not just a logo that I told you in the beginning. Let me add some few slides about something that we need to consider about our services or the products that we offer. The first one is that we need to understand that the people don't want to buy our product from the beginning. The people want to lose weight, they want to get smarter, they want to spend time with the loved ones, go home on time, sleep adequately, feel good, looks beautiful, be healthy, be happy. That's the things that we are expecting when we want to buy something, nothing else. That's why it's important to consider that our product is only as good as the experience it enables people. That's the point that we need to consider. No is about just the product, no is about the brand, no is at the end is a feeling that transmits our company and connect with our audience. That's the point that is more important in this context. Another aspect that we need to consider is that in any interaction, when we talk about this promise and this expectation, is based basically in 3 ingredients that we spend in any interaction. We spend time, emotions, and money. When we buy something, we need to consider in what level of balance have these 3 ingredients: time, emotions, and money. But today, in different studies, show us that the most important is that we connect with the lifestyle. All strategies of marketing based in ages, economical terms, or geographical areas are not true. It's that just the brands need to explain and communicate lifestyles just for connect with the potential audience that they want to reach. When we build a brand, when we design a strategy for a company, when we design the experience that one company want to offer to his final clients, we divide basically these aspects in 4 areas: in the visual aspects, the verbal aspects, the sensorial, and attitudinal. That's the point. Is really important to analyze, because sometimes even in with my colleagues or some members of my family think that our job is just to create nice drawings or nice illustrations or nice logos that connect with the people, but it's nothing. It's not related about that. It's really important that, of course, we need to be attractive in visual aspects. We need to generate the naming. We need to design exactly the leitmotif, the motto, and the claims that catch the attention of our users. We need to work with materials, with the sensibility. But just now, in this actual context, in this crisis context, it's really, really important to work with this attitudinal access. The other aspect that we need to work also is that how we manage this relation in the time. Any interaction with a brand, we understand that we need to design before to have a contact with a brand, during the moment that we have a completely contact with the brand, and after we interact with this brand. We need to manage this access in these 4 axes: visual, verbal, sensorial, and attitudinal, and the other ingredient is with the time. Just now, it's important that with this new context, we work with the attitudinal access, but at the same time, we work that it's important that how we manage during the time. Just it's really important that the people understand today that we are in contact with them, that how we are working with them, and after that, they consider our brand in something that is relevant and different and coherent with the message that we want to offer in comparison with our competitors. The 3 elements that we need to consider that today our audience is expecting about our attitudinal brand is truth, hope, and guidance. These 3 elements are completely related with this attitudinal aspect of the brand. Another aspect that recent study shows that is really important, that the people wants to be truthful. In times of uncertainty, people want trusted sources. That's important that today, if we communicate, we don't try to sell something or to sell a service or to sell a product. Just we need to offer a good message, really based in truths, in good bases, in strong values, because the people in this way, they feel completely connected with us. The other aspect that is really important is that the people want brands to be useful. That's why, for example, leadership and social conscience is really important, and of course, to design and to offer to our users or to potential consumers heartfelt initiatives. That's the point, that if we work in this attitudinal aspect of the brand, it's really important. Also with the time, that's today, some companies, they try to connect with you through social media or website to sell something. In this actual context, is the worst thing that you can do today just for communicate. You need to offer maybe some tips, maybe you can offer advice, maybe you can offer initiatives that the people connect with your brand. And after that, of course, the consequence is your product or your service, but just in managing with the time is something that is a result, is something that is the conclusion about what you want to offer. Another aspect that is really important is that the people want brands that have a voice. That's important. Maybe you are not completely agree with the point of view that maybe have a brand or a company or maybe a person in front of this situation, but you will be connected with these values if you respect with the sensibility that this company explain and expose these values. And after that, maybe you can consider the products or the services that this company offer to the final client. That's really important, all these aspects, but when we design a brand, it's just not a logo, it's just not a visual impact, it's just all these elements that I explained you in the other slides. That's important to start with a culture of how we design the culture of a company. Sometimes the companies, they start to work with the management, with all the tools that they need to be really commercial, successful, or to be really operative. But we need to inverse this position. It's just not to start with the management, and in function of the management, we will design the strategy of the company, and after that, maybe we will design the culture of the company. That's important, that we need to start designing the culture of the company. What is the purpose of this company? What is the values that have this company? And of course, what is the attitude that have this company? Now we may be in this unsettling context with the coronavirus crisis, could be one of them, but in front, for example, of the sustainability crisis maybe a few months ago, that now seems that disappears of our mind, but still remaining outside, we need to consider what is the positioning that have these brands. And after that, in function of our values, we need to design the strategy. We need to design more or less in what areas we put our effort, in some resources or in some goals or in some focus. And in consideration with that, we will arrive to the management area, how tools we will need to reach these goals. But that's really important to invest and focalize the attention of the communication of our brand related 100% with the culture that have this brand. Other element that we need to consider also is all the omni-channel experience. It's important that today we understand that the social media is one of the elements that the users they perceive more sensible to stay in touch with the companies, just for analyze the message that offer them. Another one is that what kind of website experience we offer to our clients. If they can interact with us, they can send some message, how we present our products, but at the same time, how we present our culture, our attitudes, and of course, our presence in front of these situations. If we have one app to interact really fast and really direct with our users, if we have a call center as well, or for example, our experience in the brick and mortar, how we will need to modify in the next months, just because, for example, the last months we are based, some of strategies based in the touch, in how we perceive the atmospheres and the environments in retail, for example, or our headquarters. But now with this new situation, we will need to modify completely that. This situation, we will modify our way that how we need to design our headquarters, or how we design new relations in the spaces. Maybe we really appreciate that this combination between the physical aspects and virtual aspects, or at the same time need to be coherent and offer one attitudinal message coherent with the values of the company. Let me show you one example that maybe explains better all these theoretical aspects. For example, the storytelling that offers Levi's, the jeans. 20 years ago, Levi's, they offer that one message, one communication related 100% with the view and with the image of one guy that rides a horse alone in the far west and smoke a cigarette. All these elements today need to be modified because the values of the society are completely new. Just for example, Levi's, following with this concept of to write, they understand that today, based with this idea that we saw in other slides about what does it mean a smart brand, they following with this idea of write, you don't write a horse in our actual context of cities, or in this concept of sustainability, they slide this concept to write, but to ride a bike. Just for example, when you fold one of the pants of Levi's, you have these two strips of light that you can see see for other drivers, or in the context during the night with the lights of the cars. That's the same point. It's to ride, but now it's not to ride a horse, it's ride a bicycle. The fiber cotton now is completely sustainable and easy to be recyclable. And no, it is the context about the Far West, is the context of the cities that is more related with our lifestyle. And the major part of the population lives in the big cities. It's not related about to have a domination about one animal. It's just related that if you ride a bicycle in a city, sure that you are more sensible about sustainability and healthy environments. That's the point. That how explaining the same sentence and the same point of view, how you modify a little bit your history. That's related with the first slide that we saw, is that change is good, but transformation is better. Now we need to focalize the efforts of our companies more in modify these aspects, how our companies need to following with the same values, maybe following with the same messages, just we need to modify little aspects just for connect with our intentions and with this aspect that happens today in outside. Other one, let me show you that how now the theaters, the retail, the stores, the shops, the galleries, that are more important, the create spaces for conversation, for communicate more than just for sell products. Why? Because you offer knowledge, you offer a special touch, you offer a special sensibility. Just if you offer this kind of spaces, it will be more easy that after that you create the loyalty of these clients, and of course you will increase your sales directly with the same potential clients. Or how we work the sensors. Let me show you this example of one company of glasses, that when you choose the glasses, you choose the frame, you can choose exactly the same color that have these frames with lipsticks or with the color of your nails, just because in this moment you don't buy glasses, you buy an experience, and at the same time you are buying one attitude about what does it mean fashion, or what does it mean beauty, or what does it mean to wear glasses. Another aspect what we need to consider when we design a brand is also that how we choose our team. These two pictures are related in the same city, but are two brands completely different. One on our left-hand side, we can see one guy that works in Joe and the Juice, and on right-hand side, we can see one guy that works at Norman Copenhagen. It's a really famous store related with design and furniture. All the typologies of the members of our company, they communicate our brand. They show the attitude of our brand. Just in our left-hand side, we can see how the guy is related just with this message that the user is not a machine. Yeah, the attitude in the position that have this guy is completely related with this message. Is a message that is young, fresh, direct, and a little bit cold. And just in the other side, the other picture is about to sell design, detail, sensibility, nuances, and of course, all these things, these attitudes we need to design, just not for the costume, just not in the way that you say good morning or you say goodbye, just not in the way that you write emails for a company, just how you create this sensation and this sensibility in the space. That's really important about that. And finally, another element that we need to consider is not just to have, when we talk about omni-channelity, it's important to how you offer this Lookit experience. This example, for example, is about Audi. Audi in the last years, they don't want to sell physical cars inside of the stores in the center of the cities. Just they explain and sell the experience. That you choose exactly the typology of driving that you expect, and with these virtual realities and just with the feelings, you are connected with the brand. Maybe after a few months or in the day that you decide to buy a car, maybe just consider Audi in front of other competitors in the way that maybe is a more technological company or have one another typology of communication with the clients, and is in the point that they feel really interested, just not to sell during the moment. It's just they are preparing your mind, your sensibility, and of course your expectations that Audi is the brand of the future related with cars. As a conclusion, we need to think that the brand is not owned by the company. It's the property of the brands is related about the customers. They give us the meaning and the goal of our brands. And we need to understand that they want to join our brand. They want to join our services. They want to join our attitudes. They want to be truthful, useful, and really connected with our feelings as a brand, more than we sell a product or service for one price. And of course, related with these attitudinal brands, without a good brand, our company doesn't exist. Maybe exist our products, maybe exist our services, maybe exist our prices that maybe are more attractive just in a moment in front of our competitors. But the people buy just not as a promise. They don't have any expectation. Just they buy us as a price, not as a value. That is really important, that we invest in our brand and we connect with to create attitudes through our brands. This last slide is just for show you that when we design a brand for a company, we design more than 500 actions, all related about different areas. The first one is how we design the brand. The second one is how we design all the strategic identity, all the mottos, all the claims, all the hashtags, all the slogans, all the messages that they connect with them. They connect with the final client. How we design in the applications all the elements that the company need to interact with the consumers. How we design the retail, how we design products, packaging, how we create this brand coaching, as we saw in the other examples, that how the guys of the team need to wear, need to speak, need to interact with the final user. And of course, finally, we need to, after 1 year, the time frame of all of that more or less is 1 year, how we can audit all these aspects just for create one experience. Means that if we only have one logo, just we have one of these dots, one of these 500 dots related about what does it mean as a brand. That's really important to interact with all these elements and to understand that all of them are really, really important to consider and to evaluate with all of them. And that's as a conclusion is in the way that we need to consider that a brand is something completely different that just we have a logo. And now, just in this moment, in this crisis moment, it's really important that the brands we design through attitudes, through messages that connect exactly with the expectation that we have as a users, with brands that have values, that have a strong points of views, and they are developing initiatives that the society, the governments, and maybe our neighbors, they consider that there are brands that have one attitude, that have one point of view that we can take in consideration. And it's in the way that one brand today can communicate and grow and reach more potential users for the future. Okay, that's a little bit all the global about the elements of the presentation. It will be my pleasure if someone have some questions about these aspects that we expose through the Spanish Chamber in the United Kingdom. And if you want that I answer some of them, it will be my pleasure to answer now.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much for that. Mark, if you want, why don't you put back up the slide that has your contact details on, just in case if any of the participants want to get in touch with you, they can do so by the slides. Great. Okay. Yeah, we have some questions that have come in. One of them is when a company is just starting out, how can you create awareness for your brand on a low budget?
Is the same. The methodology and the process is completely the same. No, we never consider if it's the budget is low or high. Is at the end a brand is one attitude, and we design sometimes for startups that they have a big attitude, and sometimes they don't have the most an important amount for resources related about brand, and they create an incredible engagement with the clients. And for example, some of the big brands today, they have serious problems, and with a really generous budgets, they have a serious problems for connect with a potential audience. The problem at the end is not related about resources, it's about attitude. If any startup have the attitude, have the team, and have the energy to communicate just based in some few aspects, but with coherence, with a direct goal, and with enthusiasm, it works. And sometimes big companies that maybe have more resources, but they don't have maybe all the team aligned with that. They don't have a clear message. They focalize more the attention in marketing and in product and in services more than in the reaction and the feelings that they can offer to the final client. They have a serious problems with that. Just if you have a low budget, just invest in one of these elements, that is to create a nice brand. But this brand need to base it basically with a motto, a nice motto, really catchy motto that you can repeat in social media, a motto that maybe interact with a launch site or in a website that catch our attention, a motto that is not only for your customer experience, a motto that is related also with the employees' experience, that everyone in the company could be aligned with that. Something that create one attitude, and after that is just question of time and continuously efforts in this direction. But to build a brand with a motto could be the first step that any company need to start with a low budget.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. And another question that we have that's a bit linked to that is, what do you think the principal most important and visible aspects that of a company's brand that they can communicate?
Maybe it could be the same, that the motto.
The motto, okay.
The motto is today more important than just the naming of a brand. Let me show you in an example really clear for everyone, really basic, but sure that everyone understands. It's like Nike. Many years ago, everyone's buying Nike just for a brand, but today we buy Nike just do it. That is the motto. Just do it means a lot. Just do it is that it's not necessary that I finish marathons or I run 50 kilometers. It's just if I have the attitude in the morning to wear something that I want to just do it, maybe I run 3 kilometers, it's enough. Why? Because it's important that I connect with the feelings. Not everyone is a professional related with the sport. Of course, our sport stars, they wear Nike, but it's not our case. But we move for this attitude, we move for this feeling, we move for this dream. Maybe I run 5 kilometers, but it's enough. You just do it. Maybe it's better to run 5 kilometers than 0. That's one is the attitude that I buy in, for example, with Nike. Just do it. And everyone in the company have the same attitude. Everyone, when, for example, in consultancies, we work with the store managers in Nike, is that maybe you make mistakes. Yeah, but it's the leitmotif and the motto of the company. Just do it. Maybe it's better to do it and with a mistake than don't try to do anything and try to be paralyzed, or I don't try to move anything and to follow with the same energy. No, the important is that, okay, just do it. And maybe with this message, everyone, employees and users understand that is the attitude of the company.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. Another question that we've had is, Brandland works with different in different countries around the world. does branding differ much depending on the culture of the country where you have a presence, or is it vastly quite similar?
No. Today, as I told in another slide, is all related about lifestyles. Today, we cannot consider big differences between countries across America, Europe, and some countries in Asia and Oceania. There are not big differences because we don't analyze the brands from the marketing aspect as age, money, or geography. We need to analyze that the attitude of the brands is just connect with the feelings, and more or less every word is the same. We want to have, as I told you in other slides, hope, guidance, and truthful. If any brand offers these three elements, maybe you perceive the products and you perceive the services of this company more aligned with your expectations. It's the element that we call as a brand equity. When you perceive a brand that have this attitude, that have this message, and have a positioning in other aspects, in other countries, just with human feelings, is in the moment that you interact completely aligned with the values of the company. And of course, you can see and perceive the products of this company in the best of the ways.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. Got some more. Another question from participant is, how can you change the perception of a historic brand? What are the key aspects of rebranding?
Working a little bit with some details. With these historic brands could be based, for example, in the example of Levi's about the jeans. No, it's a historic brand, but they modify a little part of the storytelling that they have. No, the key aspects of a rebranding is that you are completely a message coherent with the motto that have this that have this brand. Okay, just when we rebrand a historical brand, it's more that maybe you can modify some graphic aspects. Just for today, the challenge of any brand is that how you apply this brand in one app or in a digital context, how it works. And some historical brands you need just to redesign because now the channel is more digital than physical. But the key aspect is that the motto explains the same value and the same spirit that in the past. Maybe you change the context, maybe you change a little bit some typologies, but is aligned with coherence with the motto.
Thank you, and that's a good answer. Another question we have is, do you think that there can sometimes be a broken link between the brand communication and the brand culture in some brands? And if so, could you give us an example?
Whoa, yeah, good question. This broken link between brand communication and brand culture happens more often than we think. And if I can give you an example about any popular brand or any brand that is easy to recognize for everyone, yeah, I can explain you that, for example, the brands related with automotive companies, with the cars, now they are perceiving this problem. Why? Because in the way that we perceive a car in the last 10 years completely changed. What does it mean? And any historical brand, any of the historical brands that have a serious problems with that is, for example, could be like BMW or Mercedes. Why? Because they sell or they have a one brand positioning related with luxury, but the luxury of 20 years ago is not aligned with the luxury that what does it mean today. That for example, if today we buy one car with really that have wood or leather inside, in some aspects, our sensibility about sustainability and about what does it mean the production of elements is in another way. It's another focus. What does it mean, for example, the transport? Maybe what does it mean luxury? What does it mean the concept of mobility? If today they don't invest with alternative energies, they don't invest in elements that understand us, that they have this sensibility for the environment, is a really serious problem for these big brands. And the same maybe could be happen with some really famous brand like Palmolive or shampoo, something like that, that they use sometimes, they test with animals, or they don't use sometimes natural ingredients, or basically they have chemical formulas that today the society, they don't feel so much aligned with the message that offers these companies. Maybe they have a really strong brand because in our memory, in our past experience, we know that there are notorious brands, but today, with our sensibility and with attitude and with our new education, they are not aligned with the values of the society. Just not for the consumers that they have today, just for the people that have maybe 20 years ago, that they have 20 years, and in many years they will start to buy these products. They need to reformulate, they need to redesign completely the message that they offer to the final client.
Brilliant, thank you so much. That was really interesting. Another question, a little bit similar, is can a good brand be unsuccessful economically, or can a very profitable company offer a very bad brand experience?
Yeah. The brands that are unsuccessful in the market is basically today, in more than 85% in the recent studies, is that because they are focused just in products. The brands that they focus the message in attitudes or in communication could be unsuccessful in the market, but means also that the products are not aligned with that. Just means that if you just invest in product, sure that in a few years you don't have any relevance in the market. If you invest with brands, it's not a 100% element of to be successful in the market, but sure that you are working in the right way. That's why it's important that first, to invest more in your product or in your service, is important that you invest in your brand. Because now we will see how now for this, in this coronavirus crisis, some brands, they are modifying some elements of the product or the services that they are offering. But if the values of the brand and the message of the brand is clear and coherent, the people feel completely aligned with that. That's, for example, a few examples of a Spanish company like SEAT in automotive cars, how they start to produce some mechanical products for hospitals. Just in this moment, SEAT sure that reach more our heart than our mind. And now maybe it could be unsuccessful in economical terms, but sure that in the time in the future, they will be more successful in economical terms.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. Well, in line with what's happening at the moment as well with the pandemic, can you give us some examples of companies that, in your opinion, are managing this crisis really well? In
global terms, now could be the more popular advertisement that develop Nike, that if they make a message that if you are dreaming to play for the world, now is your moment, stay at home. Is that is related with that, no? When you wear something of Nike, you are thinking that you are that you are running for you, but you are running maybe for in one stadium, or you are a soccer player for a stadium. And just with this message, they say, okay, don't wear our clothes, don't wear our brand, stay at home. It will be in the future the opportunity to wear our brand. Sure, that connect with our hearts. Or, for example, the example that I told you about SEAT, where coronavirus in Spain is really hard, and it's really critical in this moment, how they change the line of production and they stop to produce cars and they start to produce material for help to the hospitals to offer mechanical solutions to the breathing assistant to the patients. That's the point, that you connect with these brands and you understand that, okay, they are working for something that the society need, not just for the clients that they have need or just for his economical interest. They are working just for the world. They have one transcendence about the feelings that what doesn't mean a product. They are working for the society. And so it's something that today we really want and expect of the brands.
Okay, so do you think it's particularly important that at the moment, for example, going through this crisis, it's necessary that companies are kind of checking the way that they project their brands at the moment and kind of changing it at all, or it's okay to otherwise just stick as before?
Now to be proactive is hard. I think that all the companies are reactive. To analyze now to analyze now maybe the communication that have a company, I think that okay, now it's just write the situation in the best way that you can. But sure that the strategy for tomorrow is to review and to make a brand consultancy about how modify the culture and the attitude of your company. Perceive if the motto and the message that we offer is aligned with the new necessities that have the society, and of course, structure effectively communication aligned with these values. Now, honestly, in our case, for example, with the big firms that are our clients, they are working in a reaction way. They are not working really proactive. The small ones also, they are reacting in function of the resources and in function of the moment. But all of them, they are thinking not just for now, they are thinking more in tomorrow, how I will need to communicate, and my message, my motto, my products, if all of them, it will be aligned with the necessities that we will have the society and the priorities. That's now, I think that it's the moment just for analyze, just for to see and criticize all the elements of our messages that maybe are not so much aligned with these feelings, with these good feelings. And in the moment that more or less we expect that the economy and society starts to run proper, to offer a message that it will be connected 100% with our values, with our attitude, with our message.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Just a last question then. What are the typical companies that Brandland works with? What kind of size and what kind of strategies do you help them to implement to improve their branding?
Basically, our profile of companies is completely different. We work for big firms, for medium companies, for startups, for medical associations. We work for different typologies and sizes of companies. About the sectors that we work, also they are completely different. We work for supermarkets, for food, for industry, for pharmaceutical sector, educational sector. They are also with different backgrounds. But the most important of all of them is that we help them to grow the bases and pillars of his companies through the brand. And the focus that all these companies have is just to offer experiences and to design business through brand experiences. That's the point that we help them. And now, just in this situation, I can assure you that now all the big companies, they are making a big effort just for modifying the message that they want to create in the next weeks. But it's a surprise, a nice surprise, that a lot of small companies, they are working aligned with the same values. We are just in these last weeks, we have more projects than ever, just because they are starting to design new opportunities for the next months. And it's interesting that to understand that everyone need to reconsider in the way that they are communicating in this new context that we will see in economical terms and in social terms.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Mark. That was incredibly useful and relevant and really interesting as well. So we really appreciate you collaborating with us here at the Chamber for this morning's session. Thank you for everyone who joined in. It's great to see that there were so many of you. If anyone would like to get in touch with Mark going forward, you can find on the screen there Brandon's website, Mark's direct email address and LinkedIn. And so do feel free to get in touch with him. This webinar is going to be kept up on our YouTube channel after, if ever you'd like to watch it again to just have a bit of a recap. And I'd like to encourage you all as well to please just keep an eye on the other upcoming webinars that we have coming up at the Chamber in the coming weeks, because there's quite a few. And hope you all have a lovely rest of the week. Thank you again, Mark.
Thank you to you. Thank you to the Spanish Chamber and everyone and to the attendants. And yeah, it was my pleasure. And feel free, if you have any doubt or question, to contact with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Bye-bye.
Bye.